Hello, and welcome to my first ever Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast episode. This is a new podcast about all things Kid vs. Cat related. I'm your host, MrDemonKat, and we're going to start talking about all kinds of things related to the Kid vs. Cat animated series. Because this is the first episode, we will discuss how good or bad Kid vs. Cat looks like. For those of you watching on YouTube on your screen, there's information about how you can contribute because this is something we have on screen. We're also going to have a discussion about anything you want to talk about Kid vs. Cat related. For those of you listening on Spotify or any other sources, you can email me about anything Kid vs. Cat related you want to talk about at MrDemonKat8@gmail.com. You can also respond to what I'm talking about or whatever. You can even leave a comment on YouTube. I will reply to what you said. I will also read your emails or even play voicemails. Okay, so who am I? I'm MrDemonKat. I began posting Kid vs. Cat YouTube shorts earlier in 2025. I also began drawing my own Kid vs. Cat artworks I made on my laptop. My number 4 favorite show is Kid vs. Cat. I watch Kid vs. Cat in many different ways. On the Kid vs. Cat YouTube channel, Pluto TV, Tubi, the Roku channel, etc. A whole lot of Kid vs. Cat stuff I saw online. I also love those a lot. There's also some Kid vs. Cat shorts I saw earlier on YouTube. I also redraw Kid vs. Cat scenes I saw on YouTube sometimes. There's even Kid vs. Cat crossovers I also made earlier in 2024. They're all available somewhere online. You can find them on my main channel's YouTube bio or whatever. My Talking Kid vs. Cat podcast will mostly be audio-based. For those who do not know what Kid vs. Cat is, Kid vs. Cat is a Canadian 2D animated show premiered on YTV in Canada on October 25th, 2008, and ended with Season 2 on June 4th, 2011. It was created by Wild Bud Tiller, developed and produced by Studio B Productions in association with Disney XD, formerly Toon Disney, and Jetix. Kid vs. Cat is mainly about a young boy named Coop who has his red and orange striped shirt on, his blue pants on, and his brown shoes on. It's also mainly about Mr. Cat who does bad things. About several years later, Kid vs. Cat also began streaming for free on one of the free ad-supported services like Pluto TV, Tubi, Roku channel, etc. It's not on Disney XD and not on White TV anymore, not even on cable TV. The first Kid vs. Cat episode I saw on YouTube is Let the Games Begin. The show begins with Coop, Bert, and Millie playing baseball outside, and also having fun together. They all first appeared, along with Mr. Cat watching them play outside. The second part I saw in that episode is that Coop was walking away from his dad and his sister. One moment later, he could not find a baseball on the floor outside. Soon, he discovered a lost cat found in the woods. Coop first saw Mr. Cat hiding in trees. They also met each other in the Let the Games Begin episode. They were also the ones who partially started the fight in Bootsville. Mr. Cat yells, then later partially scares Coop. Coop runs to his dad and his sister, knowing that there's a lost cat found somewhere. He began exaggerating and freaking out about a cat being upset. Coop's sister Millie asks her dad if she can keep that cat in their house. And then a few moments later, Bert tells his kids that they're keeping the cat. The worst neighborhood that Coop and his family saw in Bootsville is Old Lady Munson's yard. Old Lady Munson is the worst old woman I've seen before, in my opinion. She began visiting Coop and his family in the house, then later also got upset at them. Pretty bad, right? Okay, everyone, let's settle down and continue on with other Kid vs. Cat parts I saw. Coop's sister Millie, his father Bud, and his worst neighbor Old Lady Munson went to Coop's room upstairs to check on him. Well, this happened. They almost all got upset at Coop. Probably someone else stole all the toys that Coop has in his room. His sister, father, and old lady left Coop's room, and that's how the Kid vs. Cat episode, Let the Games Begin, ends. Okay, moving on to earlier Kid vs. Cat stuff I also saw on YouTube. Almost no one saw it on traditional cable TV, but this one is the lost Kid vs. Cat pilot I have also not seen yet. The 2007 Kid vs. Cat pilot titled Look What My Sister Dragged In was almost nowhere to be found online until now. The first thing I saw in the lost Kid vs. Cat pilot was Coop wearing different clothes and jumping on the red and orange leaves outside while having fun there. His father Bert was also outside too, trying to rake the leaves, or maybe having this little boy also try to rake them. Almost the same characters that I saw in other Kid vs. Kat episodes, but different looks that I also saw. Bert also has different clothes that he wore. Maybe the dark green shirt and green pants on? Maybe. Their sister Millie found something that she put in the box. What's inside Millie's box? I do not know yet. Probably a mystery item or something. Let's see what happens. Millie ran to Coop and Bert with her box. And then, this happened. Mr. Kat was inside Millie's box. And then, he got mad at Coop. Mr. Kat began chasing Coop. Very funny, huh? Mr. Kat being upset made some of you guys laugh a little, huh? The fight begins with Coop being afraid of Mr. Kat. Bert spoke to Millie for a little bit, and then he made Millie scream. Coop and Mr. Kat stopped. Millie took Mr. Kat to the house, plus Coop also got mad too. Millie began making tea or coffee while being with a dangerous cat inside. Mr. Kat may not like it, but Coop saw them sit at the table in the living room inside the house. Mr. Kat also began drawing bad stuff on paper. Knowing that Coop was a bad boy, well, this surprised me a little. Almost the same things I saw in the Let the Games Begin episode earlier. Mr. Kat even began making new technology stuff at home that I have never seen before. Did Mr. Kat set up TV in the living room? Not quite, but he's pretending to sleep on top of the old TV. Is Mr. Kat gonna control the TV? Are you kidding me? He saw Coop yell at the TV? What is going on here with Coop and Mr. Kat being in the living room? Oh, we got Mr. Kat controlling the TV, man. Oh man, this is my first time laughing at Kid vs. Kat. Isn't that crazy? Did Kid vs. Kat also make you laugh too? Hey, I know them a lot. How I also smiled watching my number 4 favorite show, Kid vs. Kat, until this happened. Millie climbed up to get Mr. Kat out of the old TV. But how did Millie get up there? She got him again, huh? Millie yelled inside the house, making his dad come to the living room about what happened. Bert and Coop saw the TV get down on the floor. I do not know if this is still working or not. At the end of the Kid vs. Kat Lost pilot, Bert looked at the book, saying he's getting another new book. Coop continues sitting down in the living room, not knowing when the cat will become friends with each other. And that's how the Look What My Sister Dragged In Kid vs. Kat Lost pilot ends. The Look What My Sister Dragged In pilot that I saw on YouTube was amazing, in my opinion. Other characters that also did not appear in the Lost Look What My Sister Dragged In short pilot: Dennis Chan, Old Lady Munson, etc. The show Look What My Dragged In changed their name to Kid vs. Kat in 2008. No wonder why it's rare seeing TV shows change their titles after their Lost pilot episode. The production for Kid vs. Kat began in 2008 somehow. Rob Bodilla also began creating episodes for it earlier. And now he has to start Kid vs. Kat episodes all over again? How crazy! The last Kid vs. Kat pilot episode was partially released somewhere in 2006, 2007, or 2008, and was partially seen online or on cable TV. Kid vs. Kat fully premiered in October 2008 on YTV, that later also began airing on Disney XD in the US later, in February 2009. Okay, moving on to the reviews of Kid vs. Kat I saw on Google search. I'm not going to go over all of them in this episode, but I can only read one. Joshua Noon wrote a review on my number 4 favorite show, Kid vs. Kat, on Google search, and said this.
Read your programs, people!
Kid vs. Kat may have been an underrated show, but as someone who frequently watched it, I thought it was great. I even have a pet cat myself, and when the show was on, I would inform my cat that his favorite show was on. I really enjoyed the first season of the show. It was funny and enjoyable. If it ended there, I would have been satisfied, as Coop and Mr. Kat do form a friendship, which probably lasted a short while. The second season I also liked. One of the well-known characters is when Kat turns all of the town's water into milk. The second season also gave a larger picture of Kat and his home planet, and revealed that Kat wasn't overall the villain of the show. Sadly though, its life was cut short. In the second season finale, the characters who do not believe that Kat is an alien or evil are taken to his planet and learn this, but think that it's great as now he's more special. At the end of the episode, all the characters mentioned above have their memories erased, and one character accidentally has her memories erased. With that, I guess the episode is not all that pointless, but it takes us back to the very beginning of the season. The very last scene is with Coop and Kat fighting. Guess what? That was the last ever episode of the show. There was supposed to be a third season, but despite the ratings, that never happened. There wasn't even a special episode to properly conclude the series or anything like that. It just ended abruptly with no resolved ending. As I said before, if it ended with season 1, then one could see somewhat of a conclusion as Coop and Kat become friends, but with season 2, there's no ending. I still hope that one day there will be another episode to serve as a conclusion, or it will get rebooted. Joshua Noon also gave it 4 stars. I also saw someone else leave 1-star reviews on the show. Again, I'm not going to read them on Google search. Okay, getting back to other Kid vs. Kat parts I saw. Coop also began moving on to winning the war against Mr. Kat in the next Kid vs. Kat episodes I also watched on YouTube. Coop was at the beginner level, and later continued learning how to beat Mr. Kat, much like how I saw sports teams learning how to beat the other team. The games continue as Mr. Kat also started learning how to beat Coop, but began losing the war against Coop in some of the episodes I saw. Mr. Kat also began inventing science, technology, and some other stuff I saw in a small room that lives outside Coop's house by making future technology stuff that makes them out of control. Maybe chase Coop using evil technology that Mr. Kat made? Not quite, but you know how many times Coop won? And how many times Mr. Kat lost in Kid vs. Kat, blah blah blah? They might be chasing each other, or making the race to victory formation. Much like how I saw athletes race to the playoffs. Coop Buttenberger might also be a good professional soccer player, or a baseball player, at a young age of 10 or 11. He even began saving the world and the entire universe in Bootsville by ruining Mr. Kat's plans in some Kid vs. Kat episodes. Mr. Kat also began attempting to destroy the world by ruining plans to stop Coop and the entire universe. But that's not all, because I also saw Dennis help Coop change things back to normal. Thankfully, Coop and Dennis felt safe about Mr. Kat losing a lot of energy and power. They also felt excited about him being slow to get up. Coop and Dennis not only being best friends with each other, but also sometimes being better people. Coop's father, Bert, also surprised his son, Coop, about being happy with how the world did. Kid vs. Kat also continued airing new episodes until 2011. The only character I saw that did not appear in Kid vs. Kat Season 1 at all so far is Fiona Munson. Fiona has not appeared in all of Kid vs. Kat Season 1, not even the Season 1 intro that I also saw. However, Coop's best friend, Dennis, first appeared in the Night of the Zombie Cat episode. He also appeared in the Kid vs. Kat Season 1 intro too. The final Kid vs. Kat episode also came in 2011, titled The Cat Went Back. The Cat Went Back was the final Kid vs. Kat episode I also saw on YouTube. And what if Kid vs. Kat got a reboot? Or should I say Kid vs. Kat returned for Season 3 later in the future? Do you think Kid vs. Kat's getting a reboot anytime soon? There might not be Season 3 of Kid vs. Kat, but I may also be able to draw more Kid vs. Kat scenes that I have also not seen in the future. Maybe I can draw my first Kid vs. Kat comic on my laptop, or do my Kid vs. Kat text-only fan fiction. I also saw a little bit of rumors on YouTube about Kid vs. Kat getting the 3rd season, and it was not generally announced across the world online. Well, do not expect Kid vs. Kat to get renewed for a 3rd season, unless there are future updates on the show. What if there were Kid vs. Kat characters growing up, becoming adults, in a new Kid vs. Kat episode that no one created yet? I also saw someone draw Kid vs. Kat characters growing up online somewhere. If Kid vs. Kat had yet another crossover in 2025, what will it be? What will Kid vs. Kat have a crossover with in 2025? So many Kid vs. Kat related questions I made in this episode. What are your thoughts on Kid vs. Kat? What are your thoughts on the characters you saw? And what are your thoughts on the episodes you saw? You can still leave your thoughts below. I do not know what else to share in this episode, but I think that will do it for today. If you stayed with us listening to the first episode of Talking Kid vs. Cat, thank you for listening. I hope to do this again if you want me to. You might be part of the next episode. You can be part of it by leaving a comment, emailing me at MrDemonKat8@gmail.com. Subscribe to me on YouTube, ring the bell icon. If you love listening to that, you can also follow on Spotify or other podcast sources and also give us a review. Stay safe, have a good day, and I will see you later. Peace.